everyone. Welcome. Please list your leadership positions below. By raise of hands, how many of you have had to answer this question, whether on an application, in an interview, or on a resume? It's a common question to ask, so it comes as no surprise that most people here have had to answer it. We love to see people who display the traits of a leader. And one of the easiest ways of showing this is on an application by listing positions you have held. Now, how many people here like answering this question? I personally hate this question. I have two main reasons for disliking it. First, when I get to it, I can feel this little bubble rise up from my stomach as my panic starts to set in. I get anxious, worried about my credentials and what I can put down. I've held so-called leadership positions in the past, but I've never really considered myself to be a leader. Now, but I've never really considered myself to be a leader. My second reason for hating this question is that I believe it to be exceptionally flawed. Most of our society has come to idealize this concept of leadership. Big historical figures are often cited as being great leaders who change the world. And we push this idea on our youth from a young age. In schools, we learn songs like Follow the Leader. In history, we hear about kings, presidents, military generals. The big leaders we remember from our history are major leaders. There's nothing necessarily wrong with pushing this rhetoric. The qualities these people possess, the drive to bring change, to stand up for a cause, is inspirational and something we can learn from. The problem is that the average person will not lead a country, will not form a religion, will not be the head of a company. However, we're still expected to strive for these positions nonetheless. This is why I and many around me question whether our leadership experience is important enough to even list on an application. The truth is, we have forgotten how to value the importance of little leaders. People that we encounter every day often has as much significance to our lives as big figureheads. These leaders bring as much change to our world, but it's often more subtle and doesn't affect quite as many people, so they aren't given as much credit. I have this distinct memory from when I was a little girl, maybe 6 or 7 years old. My school was putting on a play, and we were required to dress as what we wanted to be when we grew up. I, of course, knew exactly what I wanted to be. Turns out Mermaid Princess isn't a realistic career path, so I was forced to pick another. I listened intently as we went around the room, and each person said what they wanted to be. A doctor, said one girl. A police officer, said another boy. Eventually, one boy said, a pilot. How exciting, I thought to myself. But there's one problem. That's a boy's job. To me, being a princess in an under-the-sea kingdom was far more realistic than a girl flying an airplane. Sure, there was Amelia Earhart, and she was a girl, but she's grown to be such a big legend that to me, she was more an interesting story like King Arthur than a real-life person. I merely wanted to fit in, so I completely dismissed the idea. Fast forward a few years, and my family was taking a trip. I don't remember where we were going or what we were going to do when we got there, but I do remember the plane trip very clearly. More specifically, I remember our pilot, because she was the first female pilot I had ever seen. Suddenly it clicked. Like seeing a real-life girl in this position gave me permission to want it for myself. Now this pilot, she wasn't a CEO. She wasn't a famed politician. I don't even think she was the captain. But her very existence changed the trajectory of my life and led me down the path that I'm on now. Today I'm very happy to say I'm studying commercial aviation with the hopes of one day becoming a pilot. I'm not the only one to have this experience either. People from all different backgrounds and all different industries have had someone who's played a role in getting them where they are today. Teachers, coaches, parents, older siblings, friends. We have all encountered a little leader in our lives who has helped us in some way. A leader does not have to be someone in an authoritative position. Instead, a leader is someone who knows how to take initiative, can act as an example, and is compassionate towards others. A leader is someone who is influential, even if it's just to one person. Oftentimes, these little leaders have a domino effect, their influence ricocheting off in a billion different directions and hitting the most unlikely of people. We can also see the effect of these little leaders throughout our history. For example, King George VI reigned from 1937 to 1952. In addition to being a public figure to the British in World War II, he was also famous for having a stammer. The king, having to give many speeches throughout his career, saw this as a personal obstacle to be overcome. For years, he practiced to improve his speech, doing daily exercises and preparing for any public announcements well in advance. He hated public speaking, and he lacked confidence in his ability to rule without these exercises. The king, however, did not do this alone. Speech therapist Lionel Logue helped the king to improve. They ran through exercises and treatments that helped him to improve his confidence. Together, they discovered that much of the king's stammer was in fact due to nerves. In his speeches following his work with Logue, King George VI rarely stammered. Logue became a close friend and companion of the king, helping him throughout his life and career. Now, this story shows how even behind big figureheads like the King of England are little leaders who helped to shape them. People who years from now might be lost to our history, but still had a profound impact nonetheless. So why do I think asking for leadership positions is a flawed question? Simply put, it does not encapsulate what a leader actually is, or whether we possess so-called leadership qualities. All this question does is put more value on a position or title and not the person behind it. Now, if I were to ask all of you who the person is that has had the biggest impact on your lives, many would choose to list someone they know personally. Now, I encourage you to ask yourselves, why that person? What have they done that has had such an impact? What qualities do they possess that give them such an influence? These are the little leaders in our lives, the ones who change the hearts and minds of individuals. Their impacts are the ones we feel on the day-to-day. Value these little leaders as much as you do the big ones, for they are the ones who will change your world. Thank you.